Let's start right here. This is awesome because if you floor it, you don't even have a rear wiper. Suspension test. Oh. What's up guys, welcome to this POV review by AutoTopNL. My name is Martin and today I'm taking a look at the Mini John Cooper Works GP3 and I have to move my car, I think. This is the interior, that's the exhaust, there we go. Let's try that again. So where was I? Today I'm taking a look at the JCW Mini GP3. Now this is a very special car. It's a limited edition. Only 3,000 of these are made. And today I'm going to review it, tell you what's bad about it, tell you what's good about it, what makes it special, take it to the Autobahn, take it on my favorite B road and just have a blast with it. Because this is built for fun. And I just want to thank Coches in Arnhem Mini dealership for allowing us to drive their car and film all these videos for you guys. So if you're looking for a cool Mini or a JCW GP, go to Coches Mini in Arnhem. Alright, now let's get started because there's a lot to talk about. Let's start right here. This is awesome. It's a carbon fiber wide body with the limited edition number on it, 386 of 3,000, and it's full carbon fiber. Man, that's pretty damn wide, I have to say. Now this is the carbon fiber that was like left over from the i3 and i8, and they used it for all these insane carbon fiber parts. You also get upgraded brakes when you compare it to a 3-door JCW, and these brakes are massive, as are these rims. 18-inch wheels, and these are the signature GP style wheels with some Hankook Ventus tires on there. Really like those. Now the wide body gets even wider on the rear axle because the rear track has increased, so the wheel is a bit more outwards. Now this I do really like, with that gap for the fuel filler cap. I think that looks absolutely awesome. Now the JCW GP has always been quite a outgoing car, and this one, the 3rd generation, is the most outgoing of them all. We've got the new rear light units with the Union Jack in there, a GP badge, and we've got the new Mini logo, that black with those bars running across. Okay, now we have a very cool exhaust. Looks awesome, I have to say, but as always, sound regulations, it doesn't sound as awesome as it looks, unfortunately. Go follow Coches Mini on Instagram, by the way, to see some beautiful cool pictures of this car. Let's talk about the engine. This is the 2-liter turbo with a big GP badge on there, and it's from the BMW M135i, the Clubman JCW or the Countryman JCW, 306 horsepower. Now normally the 3-door version of the Mini, the JCW, has 231, so that's a 75 horsepower increase for this car. And that's because they used bigger injectors, specially made pistons, a new crank, and the turbo runs more boost. Now I'm really curious how this front wheel drive configuration will compare to all those 4-wheel drive versions of this drivetrain, because the M135i, the other JCWs, all of them 4-wheel drive. As is the M235i, that one also has this drivetrain. What do you think of this super limited edition run JCW GP3? I absolutely adore it, think it's awesome, but I know that a lot of people don't really like this car. So it's quite a polarizing car, which is a good thing, I think. Now, on the interior, we have some specially made GP goodies, like these 3D printed pedal shifters. You no longer get the somewhat Duplo-y units you get in a normal Mini. I don't really like those. And these ones, they have some similarities to the pedals on a PDK Porsche gearbox, and I really, really like them. With a little GP badge right there. Now we also have a GP badge right there, one over there, and we have a GP badge right there with the serial number written on there. This has also been 3D printed. Okay, let's start it up. Now that exhaust, when it's warm and hot, it does have a nice sound, but it never gets like super loud or anything. We don't have a rear seat. We do have some more GP badges right there, and we have this strut brace to make the car even stiffer and rigid, you would think, but supposedly it's more about the optics. We also have a GP badge right there, even though these are just the regular JCW seats, so nothing special there. Now you might think we have the dual clutch unit you find in a Cooper S, because we have that new gear shifter, but this is not the dual clutch. This is a normal torque converter automatic gearbox. So it's the ZF then? No, it's not. This is the Aisin 8-speed, and that's the worst one they have over at BMW. So I'm going to talk about that gearbox in a minute. Normally you have a switch right here, one of those cute toggle switches to change the driving mode, but there's just one driving mode in this Mini, and it's go fast. So everything is passive. Suspension is passive. They have lowered it by 10 millimeters compared to a normal JCW, but there's no adjustments to be made except for a sport mode for the gearbox. All these changes do mean that it's 70 kilograms lighter than a normal 3-door JCW. It weighs 1255 kilos. And that's because you don't have a rear seat. You don't even have a rear wiper. And this is now here, this digital unit you also find in a Mini Electric, and they have made this GP configuration on it. I do really like that. It does make it look a bit more special from the inside than a normal JCW. And this steering wheel is special for this GP because you get this 12 o'clock marker right here. And that's it. Now let's get driving. Let's head towards the Autobahn and find out what this car is like to drive. Now, as I said, we do have a sport mode for the gearbox, which I'm in right now. And let's talk about the gearbox, because the GP1, the GP2, they were only offered with a manual gearbox, and a lot of people really wanted this car to be a manual, but this engine, this is a torque machine. It's incredible how early this can build its maximum torque. It's available at 1750 RPM. I mean, that's like a diesel. So this low range in the revs is super powerful, but that does make it a bit asthmatic at high revs. It doesn't really like to rev out, and I think if you have an engine that doesn't like to rev out, don't go for a manual. It's just not rewarding, which is the purpose of having a manual, I think. So I think it was the right choice to go for this. Well, not for this, but for a automatic gearbox. Now, as I said, this is the ACEN unit, and it's a bit of a slusher because it never feels like it's really on edge, really alive, really crisp, like, for example, the ZF 8-speed they use in BMW cars. Which is a bit of a shame, I have to admit. Because especially in manual mode, it's never really there. It's okay, but it's never really on point. In a straight line though, this drivetrain, it's incredibly quick, much quicker than the M135i, and that's because you don't have that four-wheel drive system, you don't have the weight of it, you don't have the drivetrain loss of it. As you might know, drivetrain loss, that's the power that's lost from the engine to the road. So in between there's a gearbox, there's a drive system, four-wheel drive, front-wheel drive. With front-wheel drive, you lose less power between crank and wheels, and with four-wheel drive you lose more power. Now I'm going to talk to you about the speed and the performance of the car in a minute on the Autobahn. Now I'm going to focus on the handling. Now for the handling we have GP mode. It's a new traction control software specially designed for this. GP mode activated. Should give me a little more space to play. Oh, Jesus, the torque of this engine is damn dangerous. It will like take over the steering actually at low speeds. It's incredible. It's not a bad thing. It means that the car is really involving to drive. Oh, because it has a very, very aggressive front diff. That diff keeps managing the power, directing it to the front wheels, but it does so in a very aggressive fashion. Because if you floor it, you really have to pay attention. It's not going to limit the power like it will in the normal JCW. Now, you might think the drivetrain it's exactly the same unit you find in a Clubman JCW or a Countryman JCW. Now, this car is totally different because of its weight and the fact that it's front wheel drive. It's very rewarding to drive in contrast to those other JCWs, which are perfectly for daily driving but not a lot of fun. This one though, a lot of fun. It really, really is. Oh, it can be very, very challenging, and I freaking love it. It's really a lot of fun. Now, what should you compare this to? I think you have to look at these super exclusive, over-the-top hot hatches. That means we're talking VW Golf GTI Mark 8 Club Sport, which will be released very soon. 300 horsepower on the front wheels, a lot of aero going on, like with this car, and of course the Renault Megane RS Trophy R, which has the same kind of ingredients, very aggressive aero, limited edition run, and 300 and something horsepower on the front wheels as well. Now, that car is more capable in a dynamic sense, but when you look at the total packaging, I like this a little better. This has a sense of humor, which I think is always very important with a car, and I really like that. Now, that doesn't mean this car can't go around corners like those other cars, because this will actually beat a BMW M2 by 5 seconds on the Nordschleife in Nürburgring. I mean, that's insane. Now, part of that aggression is the launch control you get in GP mode, which ensures a 0 to 100 time of 5.2 seconds, which I have to admit, oh, that's impressive for a front wheel drive car. I don't think that was a 5.2 because the road surface just isn't the best over here, but 5.2, man, impressive as hell. So on the Autobahn, the fastest front wheel drive car we've ever had, stock that is, was the Renault Megane RS Trophy R. It did a 12.7, 100 to 200. Oh my god, these brakes are so impressive. These tires, they also really stick. Oh. Now this, as I said, 12.7. Fastest 100 to 200 time. This did a high 10. Can you believe it? It's 2 seconds quicker, smashing the front wheel drive record. I mean, it's hella impressive in a straight line. It is in the bends, but in a straight line, man, this thing goes like nothing else. Zero to 250, by the way, it was 5 seconds quicker than an M135i. I mean, that's like part of a day. You do feel that the wind takes hold of the car and moves it around at high speeds, but it never gets dangerous. So I like how the car feels at high speeds. It's really focused, it always is, and that's because the springs aren't even that firm. It's the dampers that really are quite firm. So if you don't have too many irregularities, the car is really nice and balanced. And look at it go, man! Suspension test, oh, I think it passed. Felt really good. It does. Come on, 270. No. Oh, brake. JCW brake system doing its work. Wow, that was really impressive. I had a lot of brake pedal travel left, so really impressive. And because they are that big, they don't fade, even though they aren't ceramics. Look at how easy this car goes to 250. Like, it's nothing. You do get some wind noise because of the arrow, but 270. and that's the top speed. It's actually 262 on GPS, which is the same as what Mini claims it will do. So this was a very elaborate review of the JCW GP3. I know a lot of other car testers have been very critical of this car. I, however, really like the car. I mean, sure, it won't be as focused as a Trophy R, but as a package, I really adore it. It's just a lot of fun. I mean, it really is, and you do feel like you're driving something special. Walking up to this car, I think it's like BMW M. It has that feeling of specialness. Hope you like this review. Thanks again to Acres Mini Dealership in Arnhem, and thank you for watching. If you want to check out another POV review, go watch this one or check out this playlist. Subscribe by clicking right here. Thanks guys.